respectful of everyone's time. We're going to begin with a roll call of our advisory committee members on police and community relations. So when I call your name, can you would please acknowledge that you are here for the record. First off, Allison Galvin.
Present.
Karen Wilson. All right. Sharon Kramer. Dr. Janice Zagardo.
Here.
Andre Allen, present. Megan Nguyen.
Here.
Dr. Ali. Terry Burnside. Miss Lorraine King.
Present.
Mr. Chief Demario Boone.
Present.
Pastor Tyson Parks. Shalandra Birch. Nina Gugis. Nikolai Graves. Chief Marion.
Here.
All right. And Chief Marion, who do you have in the room with you there, sir?
This is Assistant Chief Doug Theobald.
Oh, hey, how's it going, Assistant Chief Doug Theobald? Good to see you, sir. Kind of hard to tell with the mask there.
Sitting close to the other chief here, so.
Awesome.
Hey, Andre.
Well, glad to have you with us. Glad to have you with us. Now I'm going to go ahead and read the governor's order as it pertains to virtual meetings in the Zoom capacity. Governor J.B. Pritzker's executive order 2020-69 as extended by the executive order 2020-74 limits meetings to lesser of 25 persons or 25% of the overall room capacity. Governor J.B. Pritzker's executive order 2020-07 as amended by the executive order 2020-33, executive order 2020-44, executive order -59, and executive order 74 requires that public bodies take steps to provide video, audio, or other telephonic access to meetings. The CDC recommends social distance of at least 6 feet between persons. City Hall is currently closed to the public. To comply with these recommendations and the requirements, this town hall meeting on January 7th, 2021, hosted by the Police Community Relations Advisory Committee, is held via Zoom while still complying with the spirit of the Open Meetings Act. The notice and agenda for this town hall meeting is posted on the City of Peoria's website, and after the meeting, the minutes from this town hall meeting will be posted on the City of Peoria's website. Every time I read it, it just sounds so official. So now that we've took care of the business, welcome everyone. I really appreciate you all taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us today as we kick off our virtual town hall series. We will have 3 of these, one this month, one in February, and then one in March. Then we'll reassess them, see what we've learned from there, and then we'll look to evaluate what we'll do moving forward. I want to first have each of our committee members that I saw that are present, if you can just, again, just introduce yourself and just say maybe just a quick, 10, 12 seconds about yourself, just for those who are on the call can get familiar with our committee. So I'll just call on you because I did take roll of who is all on the call. So Allison, if you can introduce yourself, please.
My name is Allison Galvin. I am the representative for the certain age group, which is over 21 type area. I am currently a court advocate for Peoria County Courthouse, and I'm very excited to be a member of this committee.
Yes, Allison may be under 25, but she is bringing some serious veteran experience to this group. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Karen Wilson, I see you have joined us. It is not an official event without Karen Wilson, so welcome. If you can introduce yourself, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. I am Karen. You got to put the J in there, Karen J. Wilson. I am a Silver Life member, NAACP. I work for Unity Point Health, Proctor, and yeah, I'm very much always trying to make it. Well, I was trying to sneak it under the radar since I was later. I thought I was late.
No, this like church. You sneak in and the pastor call on you. No, it's all good. Thank you.
Okay.
Also, I see Ms. Sharon Kramer. She is here as well too. If you can introduce yourself.
My name is Sharon Kramer. I'm new to the commission. I am a employee of Peoria County Court Services as a juvenile probation supervisor. And I'm excited about this meeting tonight.
And we're always excited to have you. Thank you so much, Ms. Sharon. Megan?
Hello, my name is Megan Liu, and I work for the Community Development Department with the City of Peoria. I've been on the commission for a couple of years now, and I serve as the under 25 representative as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. Dr. Zagardo?
Hi, I'm Janice Zagardo. I think I'm an at-large member of the committee. I've been on the committee about 3 years now or so. I used to teach economics at Bradley, and I've done some economic consulting, and I just generally like to learn about what's going on in the city, and I am vice chair.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Zagardo. Miss Lorraine King?
Hello, everyone. Lorraine King. This is my third term serving on the committee. I'm a retiree from the University of Illinois College of Medicine, and I do a lot of volunteering in the community. Serve on the board of the NAACP, volunteers a radio guest host for WPNV, volunteer for Carver Center, and before pandemic, also for the Contemporary Arts Center. And welcome everyone who's new, and Happy New Year to everybody.
And if you didn't know, Miss King actually is retired, but she just behaves like a full-time worker. So, but we appreciate her commitment and her impact in our community. Thank you, Miss King. Chief DeMario Boone.
Chief Mario Boone, Director of School Safety for Peoria Public Schools. Been with Peoria Public Schools for 16 years.
Awesome. Thank you, Chief Boone, and everything that you do for our young people. We really appreciate it. And it looks like Terry Burnside just slid in here as well too, sir. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, you're right on time, brother.
Good evening. Sorry that I'm a passenger just getting off of work. Like I said, Terry Burnside. I've been on the commission now for a few years. At large, just trying to build my way through and do my piece, part of the community.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. And then another person that I do want to have her introduce herself is Miss Christina Kirby, who is our staff liaison for our committee. If you can go ahead and introduce yourself, as well as, and then following her, Maz Patel, who is with our legal department with the City of Peoria as well too.
Hi, I'm Christina Kirby, and I'm the Senior Administrative Assistant for the Peoria Police Department, and I've been with the department for 3 years.
Thank you, Christina. Appreciate it. And Maz?
Hi, everyone. I'm Maz Patel. I'm Assistant City Attorney. I sit in on regular meetings, try to advise the best I can, and I've been a city employee for a year, but have been practicing for 4 years.
Thank you, Maz. We appreciate your commitment. You've really been a huge assistance to this committee, so thank you so much. I also want to acknowledge any elected officials that are on the call. I see that we do have the president of the Peoria Park District, Mr. Robert Johnson, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Would you like to say hi, sir?
Good evening. I just wanted to say hello and to wish everybody a great new year and great success, and that our city will be prosperous this year. I do support our Peoria Police Department along with the Peoria Park District Police also as well.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir. We really appreciate it. So now, before we go ahead and get started, I do want to read just some ground rules for our town hall series. First, if you are comfortable, if you would name yourself on Zoom, that just would help me call on you, but that is completely optional. You do not have to do that, but if you feel comfortable with having your name there, so that way we know who you are when we call on you, that would be great. But again, completely optional. Also, when you are ready to talk, please identify yourself. So if I call on you, you'll say, hey, my name is Chief Boone, and then you can go into your comment, just so that way it could be properly documented on the record. When you are not speaking, can you please make sure your mic is muted? We don't have the ability to mute everybody's mics. Obviously, we want to stay in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. And so with that being said, if you could just, constantly just check just to make sure when you're not talking that you're muted. I understand we all are getting used to this. So I'll politely maybe remind you like, hey, can you mute yourself if you have forgotten to mute your mic? But just kind of, as a housekeeping rule, if you could just double check that. Each citizen will have up to 5 minutes each time you are called on to speak. In order to speak, I'm going to call on you, but in order for you to acknowledge that you need to be called on, you're going to use this reaction button here. So whether you want to use this guy, a little thumbs up, if you want to party, that's cool too. But if you can use the reaction icon, that's going to allow me to call on you. And then our vice chair, Dr. Zagardo, she's going to manage the time allotment. So as you get to talking, again, you're going to have up to 5 minutes to speak. She's going to keep track of that time. Dr. Zagardo, if they get to their 5 minute mark, if you can hit your reaction button as a cue, and then we will politely let you know that you have reached your 5 minute mark. Again, if you want to speak later, that's fine. You can get another 5 minutes, but we'll go on to other people just to be fair. But again, remember to use the reaction button so that way we know that we can call on you. Please, again, wait for me to call on you. I will be acting as the moderator, as chairman of this committee today. So I will call on each of you so that way you will be able to speak. We are accepting pre-submitted responses, but talking to Christina, we haven't received any of those. So that would be if someone wasn't able to be present, but they wanted to have their statement read. So for those who may participate in future town hall series, or maybe you want to send a comment in the future, those will be read at the end based off of how much time that we do have remaining. If we're not able to get to those pre-submitted statements, they will be included with the minutes that will be published on the website. So that is something that I do want to put out there as well. And then the last rule is let's please be respectful at all times. We understand that this is a very emotional subject when it comes to police and community relations. But at the end of the day, we are here to be positive and to figure out a way to have the best relationship between our police department and our community in order to foster a better Peoria. And so let's just please keep it respectful as much as possible. I cannot stress that enough. So I would like Paul, if you can go ahead and share your screen, sir. I have just a couple slides that I do want to share just to talk about, the purpose of our advisory committee. I think that that's something that's very important, that our community is aware of our purpose and what we do. So I want to, if Paul, if you can share that real fast, and I'm going to read our purpose, which is in the municipal code based off the ordinance that created us. Thank you, Paul. So again, this is in the municipal code, and this advisory committee was created, based within the NAACP and working with the Department of Justice, and the ordinance was created to create our advisory committee on police and community relations. So again, I'm going to just read this verbatim that you have in front of you. The Advisory Committee on Police and Community Relations is hereby created for the purpose of advising the Chief of Police of the city, the mayor, and the city council on matters concerned with improving police community relations, and to provide an independent means of communications and assistance between the citizens of Peoria and the Peoria Police Department in order to foster a positive working relationship between the community and the police. In the event A complaint of police misconduct is brought to the attention of any member of the committee by any citizen, such member should encourage the citizen to bring any complaint to the police department and cooperate in the police investigation of it. The member shall not become involved in the original investigation of the complaint. In the event that a citizen is not satisfied with the outcome of the investigation of their complaint, the committee may review the matter with the complainant and may discuss the matter with the chief or make a non-binding recommendation to the chief. The chief shall apprise the committee of the nature and outcome of the citizen's complaint occurring during the prior reporting period and shall work together with the committee as necessary to improve and streamline the complaint process. The committee may review police-related policies and practices with the chief and make non-binding recommendations for improvement. It is not the intent of this section that the Advisory Committee on Police and Community Relations in any way infringe upon or duplicate the functions of the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners, the Chief of Police, or the Equal Opportunity Officer of the City of Peoria. And again, this can be found in the municipal code. And then if you want to, at some point, if you want to check out that link there, it will also tell you like how we're comprised. So we have district representatives on our committee. Myself, I'm an at-large member. We have a couple people who are our under 25 representatives, and it talks a little bit more about that as well too. Paul, can you go to the next slide, please? I want to share this slide. This is a internal affairs complaint process flow chart that the city has that pretty much outlines the complaint process. Chief Marion, I'm gonna do my best to narrate this, but feel free to hop in there. I know you're probably planning on your retirement in Arizona right now, but if you want to hop in and give me a little backup, I appreciate it if I miss out on anything. So when we have someone that will come forth with a allegation or a complaint of alleged police misconduct, the complainant will come forth, and a complaint can be any of those things that you see to the left underneath a complaint. So they can complain to a supervisor, they can do a citizen complaint form, which can be found on the City of Peoria's website. Also, there's a physical form actually in the main hall of the main area of the Peoria Police Department. They can email the department, they can do a Facebook complaint, they can come to our Citizen Advisory Commission, they can do a letter to the department, a phone call to the department, a complaint to internal affairs, a complaint to the chief's office, internally generated complaint from City Hall or a council person, or a walk-in complaint. These are all different ways that you can complain if you have an allegation of police misconduct. From there, mediation will take place. So there could be informal mediation where the complainant will meet with the chief of police or someone from the Peoria Police Department to informally resolve it. Sometimes things don't necessarily need to go a formal route, but if they do, then there is a mechanism for that. And that would mean it would go then to professional standards. Professional standards will review the policy or the procedure violations of the alleged complaint. And then the chief of police will be briefed by professional standards and investigate the decision for a formal, informal, or non-investigation procedure. From there, professional standards will prepare the case, issue a case number, and then they will begin looking into the matter. And then from there, they will determine which of those three ways will it go. Will it go to a non-investigation, meaning there really wasn't any merit to the complaint? Does it go to a formal investigation, where that's when they will conduct their formal investigation to see the validity of the complaint? Or will it go to an informal inquiry? From there, then it will go to a command review, and then ultimately the chief of police will review it as well. And so I wanted to share this just because I think that it's important that our community understands the flow chart of how when you want to submit a complaint, how does that go forth? And so I think also visuals are always great. Chief Marion, is there anything you would like to add that I might have missed out, or anything that maybe you want to clarify, just to make sure that there are no gaps?
No, I think you did a very good job of explaining it. One of the things to always keep in mind is with the complaint process, if someone emails a complaint, it goes directly to the Professional Standards Division, and the Professional Standards Lieutenant will review the complaint and then notify me of the complaint. And then I'll determine what route to take, whether to have him contact the complainant and attempt the mediation, or determine whether it will be handled at the shift level or if he will handle the investigation. I do want to clarify, when you mentioned the formal investigation and the informal or administrative inquiry, basically the difference between those two is a formal investigation happens when the anticipated discipline will be 3 days or more. What's that? 3 suspension. Yeah, 3 suspension days or more. And then it has to be a formal investigation. If this anticipated discipline is 2 days or less, and then we would do a informal or administrative inquiry, and that can be handled by the shift commander.
Thank you, Chief Marion, for that clarification in that context. Yeah, sure.
When we do receive the complaint, a letter will go out to the complainant that the complaint was received and the complaint is under investigation. And then when the complaint concludes, we will send out a letter with the findings of the complaint, whether it's sustained or not sustained. And on that letter, it will have a sentence on there that will give them the contact for the advisory committee, and basically let the complainant know that if they're not satisfied with the outcome of the investigation, that they can contact the advisory committee.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that. And so that's how our advisory committee plays into this. And so citizens are to participate in the formal process through PPD first, and then from there, if they are not satisfied with the outcome, then they will have the opportunity to come to us. Paul, if you could stop sharing the screen, that'd be great, so I could see the fabulous faces of the participants of tonight's festivities. And so now at this time, I want to go ahead and open the floor. You all will have the opportunity to give comments, and we can go ahead and get that going. So again, if you have a comment that you would like to share, please use the reaction button. Again, a thumbs up. You can get the party started. If you want to have a frowny face, that's fine, whatever you feel. And then what I'll do is, if I see multiple ones go up, I'm going to just write them down, and then I will announce like who's up or who's next in the bullpen and stuff too, so you can be prepared to speak. So let's open up the floor. All right, little quiet. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. No problem. Well, let me ask you this question then, just to kind of get the juices going organically. You know, what brought you all here this evening? Would anybody like to share or give a comment of what brought you? You could be anywhere on your Thursday evening, but you chose to be here with us tonight. So what brought you here this evening?
I'll speak to that. Is that okay?
Sure, go ahead, President. Yep.
Yes, I'm concerned about our city, Peoria, and the direction that it is going, and our citizens be able to work together with our police department. Chief Marion made a comment about when you make a complaint, it's going straight to the police department. Is that correct? A formal complaint? Is that going to the police department?
Right.
Okay, now what, how long does that process take when an individual wants somebody to get back with them or somebody to help them? Or is there a protocol or a time frame or anything of that nature? That because we have some citizens here on the South Side that are a little bit concerned about, we tell them to comply and then complain. if they have a problem. So what is the, I just want to know kind of what the protocol was in terms of getting back with those individuals.
I can answer that. So usually the complaint is done within 30 days. So we will receive the complaint. The complainant will be notified that the complaint was received. And then each situation is different. So to say that there's a mandatory cutoff date, we don't have that, but typically the complaints are done within a 30-day process.
When is it possible when the state police is brought in to determine a call sometimes?
That would be on a criminal investigation. So if we get a complaint that is criminal in nature, an outside agency, typically for us, the Illinois State Police, would conduct the investigation. And then we would do the internal investigation for any internal policy violations after the criminal complaint concludes.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, great. That was all the questions. I just want to know how the complaint process go, because we have young people, particularly here in the inner city, that I'm concerned. We deal with the Park District. We want them to be safe, but also they need to comply with the police officers, work with them so they can be safe and then make a complaint. But we want them to believe that the complaint process does indeed work for them. I mean, you get what understand what I'm trying to say here?
So thank you, President Johnson. And definitely, we want to hear your concerns and your potential complaints. And this is definitely the time to do that. And also, that's why I wanted to present the flow chart and kind of go over our purpose as well too. So that way the community can understand a little bit more of how these things work. I think education is very important when it comes to fostering a positive relationship, for sure. Anyone else? Anyone else has any comments that they wanted or things that they wanted to bring to the table tonight that they wanted to listen to? I see Chief Marion, you got your hands up.
Yes. I would like to clarify to President Johnson's question. I brought up that when the state police is brought in, I do want to clarify that it is state law that whenever we have an officer involved shooting, that an outside agency is brought in. I mentioned that it's criminal acts, but on all in custody deaths or officer involved shootings, the state police would automatically be brought in on that as well. So just point of clarification.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Well, let me put my educator voice on real fast. I do work in higher ed. What does a positive relationship between, or I'm sorry, before I go into that, Susan, did you have your hand up?
I did.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Susan. How are you doing today?
That's okay. I talk so much anyway, but I just wanted to know if you had any statistics for 2019 or 2020 in terms of how many people actually did, once they filed their complaint with the police and were unsatisfied, actually did bring their complaint to the advisory board.
So we do get those statistics. Chief Marion provides those to us monthly. And so definitely we have a meeting next week. And so we could definitely connect with you to provide some intel on that.
Okay, I just was curious, because I want to know, I know that Chief said that there's a sentence on there that tells them they could go to you, but sometimes, we all think we're providing good notice, but if the numbers are saying something else, then maybe that needs to be a little bolder, or maybe a couple more sentences or something. That's all. I just wondered what the numbers were telling us about that.
Yes. And I think that's a good point. And I think one of the reasons why we're doing this virtual town hall series is because we do want to be engaged and we do want the community to call on us when needed. And so that's definitely a good point there. I see Chief Marion and Allison next.
Thank you. I just wanted to kind of answer Ms. O'Neill's question as far as the number of people that after the complaint process is done that have actually gone to the committee. I don't believe that there have been any. And someone that has been on the committee, if I am incorrect, please correct me, but I do not believe that there is anyone that has come forward to the committee after the investigation's been completed.
Not at this time.
So my name is Allison Galvin. Again, just wanted to repeat that. And as for President, I appreciate you being here today. I believe like the divide that a lot of people see is obviously they point to education, and then they point to the crime, and then they point to, the police department. And, something that I've realized as like a way to bridge that gap has been trying to find common goals. And what I believe is that everyone should have the right to feel safe where they are. And with education, it's hard to educate someone when you try to tell them that, oh, you can feel safe in your community, but then they're waking up because they hear gunshots, or there's another news article or someone else saying that there was a homicide, right down the street or next door. So I feel like, all of us have to kind of come together and bring this like perspective and these goals to show that, we all want the same thing for everyone. And we all have to also adapt to each other's communication. Me and Andre might not communicate the same way or see eye to eye, but you're going to have to compromise something. You're going to have to realize that we're not all going to think the same. I mean, we all don't look the same, and most importantly, that I feel, just talking with a lot of the kids from when I went to Bradley, and we got to go to the high schools and help. This was before COVID. A lot of students felt like, how am I supposed to, look for something? Look for something, to look forward to something if there's nothing to look forward to, because they don't have those role models. They don't have those educators showing them that. And I'm not saying that about any of the teachers or anything, but it's hard when your parents are forced with these obstacles around them, because again, education starts with parents, and, to try to get to that. So I think all importantly is we all need to find kind of like the same voice. And of course, again, because we're all from different backgrounds, it's going to be difficult. But if we really feel that safety is our goal, we can look for those, what safety means to everyone. And educating what safety is and how to become safe in your own house, in your own neighborhood, and at school, I feel like will help bridge that gap. Sorry, Lorraine.
No, thank you for your comments, Allison. Ms. King, were you next?
I don't know if I'm next, but I'll go.
Go ahead, Ms. King.
I just wanted to, there was a question asked about how many people had come before the committee. And in the 3 terms I've been on, the very first term, 1 person did come before the committee after they had received a decision. So I know of exactly 1.
Thank you, Ms. King, for that insight and that context. As one of our more seasoned members of the committee, you and Dr. Zagardo and Miss Dr. Rita Ali, who is not with us tonight. Any other comments before I, go into just some questions, just to kind of keep the conversation moving, since we have another 26 minutes here. Janice?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'd just like to say that I'm trying to think who said that. Susan, I think we hear what your comment was all about. And that's one of the reasons just before I came on the committee, they started zip code meetings in person at various locations around the city. And we had a couple people show up at each one to talk in the different neighborhoods. And we haven't been able to do that with the quarantine measures. So we just thought we had a really unique opportunity to increase attendance via Zoom. And it's taken, I mean, a yeoman's effort between the city and the police department and our committee to put this first meeting together, because we're figuring that, you know, it might be inconvenient for people to show up at City Hall at 5:30 on a Thursday night to talk to us. And we're hoping that this platform will give more people the opportunity to come and tell us, you know, what they need, what they see, what they want us to do, and to communicate with the police and the city and our members. So I believe it was Susan. We really do hear what kind of your point in that we need to make sure people understand they can come talk to us, and it doesn't even have to be something as big as a formal complaint. It could just become, give a compliment, just let us know what you need, and so we can figure out what we can do to help.
Yes, I agree, Dr. Zagardo. We are wanting citizen engagement, and we want to hear the good things. We want to hear the not so pleasant things, so that way we can, again, improve police and community relations. At the end of the day, that's just what it's about, just fostering the best possible relationship as possible. Ms. King, are you raising, is that a physical hand you're raising? You're not using your reactions?
Yes, it looks weird because I was at the post office in line right before the meeting started, so I'm sitting in my car. But I'd like to add more to Dr. Zagardo's comments. I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago, we did start having, we had some in-person meetings before she was on the committee. The very first one that was held in zip code 61605. And we had to hold it 2 times because the turnout was so great. The people came and engaged with the chief and the committee members on a variety of issues that they have. And the primary issue that exists, I think, still is distrust, because I know many occasions I've tried to get people to utilize the system for complaints, and they hesitate because they say they're afraid of retribution. So we still have a lot of work to do, but I want you to know that when we had it in person, we held it on Saturdays. So it made it convenient for people to come out. And also it was held in the zip code that had the most activity, you know, regarding negative interaction between police and citizens. So I think that having it on at a time when most everybody can come and in a safe area makes a difference, but we still have work to do. I mean, I think we've made some progress, but we still have a lot of work to do in that regard. I think that the turnout may not be as great as we would like it to be on Zoom, even though I think that's a good alternative in addition. But I do think that we got the most feedback when we had it in person in 61605.
And just to, you know, we were on our way pre-COVID to that recreating that model. You know, we wanted to go to zip code meetings. We were looking at venues and things of that nature. And so that's why I'm very excited that we were released to do this series in a virtual platform, because we don't want to lose the moment. And there's a lot of opportunity to get things done. And until we get back to whatever the new normal will look like, we have to operate within these parameters. And so I'm very excited. And I'm glad that the city and Peoria Police Department and our committee were able to make this happen. That's for sure. Was there any other comments, any reactions that I might have missed? Anyone want to share anything? President Johnson?
I do want to reiterate, and I'm gonna be quiet. I don't want to be the minister here. On behalf of the Peoria Police Department, this past weekend, or was the weekend before, I think Mr. Boone made mention about how restrained that the police were out at the mall, the situation that we had out there. Also the riverfront. I'm concerned about those issues when gatherings come at the riverfront, because the Park District, we do a lot of programming there. Also the Holy Family, when they have their fair, the state fair, I mean the Heart of Illinois fair, and these problems that have arisen But at the same time, the police does have their hand full, and we want them to know that we do support them. But at the same time, we have some challenges here. I don't want Steamboat Days, I think, moved over to Pekin somewhat. Some of that went over there. I just don't want our city to start losing some of our amenities that we've had over the years, and to not get a handle on the crime, but when it does happen, that we know how to handle it properly, and that the people that are involved, so that we can educate our citizens and our young people. My wife is an educator in District 150 also as well. And I would have to say there are challenges when it comes to our children, our kids, and our young people. But the police has been very, what they've been doing and have had to do in terms of restraint. So that's one of my concerns, that how we can get a hold of this problem to protect our city, so that everybody can feel safe, everybody can come out and enjoy some of the things that we have to offer.
No, I agree, President Johnson. I think public safety is everyone's responsibility. It isn't just the police department's responsibility. It isn't just the community. It's everyone. We all have a hand in public safety, and I'm with you. You know, I don't want to see those incidents, because I love those activities that we have here in the city of Peoria. That's what makes us unique, and I want us to keep those. Kelly, did I see you raise your hand, or you had a thumbs up over there in the corner?
I raised my hand. This is all new to me, so I'm having a little trouble. I wanted to make the statement that I'm a lifelong Peorian. I live in the East Bluff with all the shootings. I think we have an awesome police department, and it's just making the citizens of this community realize the guys that we and the women that we have on the police department. A couple of years ago, I did something here on the East Bluff that really worked out well. But every 2 months, I had a meeting at a local First English Lutheran church where I invited the chief and the police officers that patrolled our neighborhood, probably 1 or 2 city council members, and invited the whole East Bluff. And we usually ended up with a pretty good turnout. Part of what I was wanting to do is teach people that these police are not monsters, that they are good, caring, loving people. And we have to get that across. And it's really hard in the East Bluff because of the shootings and all the crime activity. I have actually gone to the point, and I don't know if the chief knows this, and maybe I'm going to do myself in. If I hear of a complaint against the officer and the person, I encourage the officer to go back and straighten it out. And they have always done that, and has worked well. That's not my role though. But, you know, somebody has got to be out there to help people understand that our police are good. And I've got to applaud Chief Marion with some of the things he's done this year when it comes to officers going to the site of a little boy who got something stolen. I mean, this does wonders for this community. And I hope they keep it up. But I think it's important. I forget who said about the 61605, but I think it's very important for people to be around the police in other arenas, like First English Lutheran Church, in a more relaxed, you know, get to know them type thing. I'm done.
I agree. No, I agree. Great comments. Great comments. Allison, I saw you had your thumbs up.
So as for president of the Park District and for Kelly, I just wanted to kind of like see what you both were kind of talking about, like obviously how the citizens feel and how the police feel. You know, I think it should be about like how everyone feels all together. It shouldn't be about zip codes. And of course, like obviously you'll live in those zip codes and stuff. It should be about the overall problem, the overall police department, the overall citizens overview of things. Of course, like, you know, how people have responded to each other's actions in ways that obviously feel more unfair than others. And, you know, in same respects, both of you want to do something about the safety of your location. And in respect to that, you guys have responded to it in different ways. But the fact that you both have responded, you both can each respond in one way by going to both of those parties, meaning the citizens and the police, and explaining, it's kind of like reaching in and kind of asking their feelings about what do you feel will make you safe? Because not everyone sees safety the same, and how we respond to safety. How the police respond to threats are different. How we respond to hearing about homicides and to shootings are differently, because it can be normal to someone that it's so numbing to them that it doesn't make a difference to them. And in other locations, it's probably like something brand new, because I know that's how I felt with Bradley. A lot of students came from northwest suburbs of Chicago, and they had no idea, and it wasn't until one of our students passed, that was a reality shock for them. And then there's a lot of people who were here who came from the south side of Chicago, like myself, and I'm so used to hearing about it. And finding that commonality is that we all care, that we all want to do something about it. And it's difficult when we have those biases of, well, they reacted this way once. Well, the citizens, they broke the law this way once. We need to let those go and start fresh. And with both of you, to what you guys said in the same regards, is you guys care, and you need to find people that care and that have the same idea of, caring. And it's going to be difficult, obviously, because you're going to have those biases. But until we let those biases go, we're never going to be able to come together and communicate with one another about the issues that we're seeing in Peoria. It's not until we all unite and actually get up and do something, because one person can make a difference, but a whole community can make so much more. And I know it sounds like it's just all talk and stuff, but in reality, if we go to each other's events and we come out and we participate, something is going to be done. Something is going to be created. I mean, in order for this committee to even be created, someone spoke up, and then it became a whole group that spoke up. So until, again, that we all actually let go of how we really feel and actually identify issues, then that'll help. And it also starts with the parents at home, and how they grew up. Because again, we have to understand each other. We all have to be able to understand each other's situations and what they're in. Until, like I said, we let go of those biases, nothing is going to be done. So I just encourage maybe both of you to reach out to each other, or both of you meet with us as a committee and tell us what kind of responses that you guys are looking for, because that, I think, will help us. Sorry for going for a long time, guys, but thank you.
No, you got me ready to run through a brick wall over there. So thank you, Allison, for those comments. I really appreciate your passion, because you're right. The fist is stronger than the finger. And so we definitely are one community, one Peoria, and we have to unite and also to address these issues. I do want to ask a question to you all, and please hop in. What does a positive relationship between police and community look like? If you could be a Picasso and you could paint the picture, or if it was a buffet with different sides, what would it look like? What is a positive relationship in your opinion? Because I think even what Allison said, it's everybody's biases is going to play into it, and so it's going to maybe look differently for other people. But in your opinion, what does that look like? I would love to hear some thoughts on that.
I think that a positive relationship is when a person can go up and thank a police officer. A person can go up and talk to a police officer on a basis of where I'm going to tell you about a crime and not have to worry about retaliation. I think people talking to the police and understanding they're just humans. They're not monsters. They're the police. They're here to protect us. But I also think that added to that, people need to learn when the police say stop, you stop. When the police give you commands, you listen to them. You don't smart off. You don't act out. You listen and obey what they say. We've given them that power. We need to respect it. If we can respect that, they can respect us more. Couple couple years ago, the mayor called me into the office for a meeting. I think Chief Marion was there, but also Chief Mitchell, Brian Aspel. We worked on some plans for the 4th of July because of all the intensity of it up here. The first year it was rough. Second year it was rough. This last year, people understood more what was going on because we've done media campaigns. You know, I did interviews with the TV stations telling people why we were doing this, and to just, you know, if you're not putting off fireworks, you're not going to get a ticket. You know, making them understand what we're trying to do in this community. They're afraid of the police. They're afraid to call the police. I cannot tell you how many phone calls I get saying, Kelly, will you call the police and tell them this? And I usually say, come over to my house and we will do that. And then I support them in doing that. A couple of years ago, Todd Green was in charge of, I forget what he was in charge of, but we were having trouble with kids walking down the street after school, breaking car windows and throwing rocks. I got a hold of Todd Green. He got a hold of Chief Boone, and we met. And Chief Boone was miraculous in helping us work on this problem to get this from happening. All these families who were having this destruction didn't do anything. I don't sit back. If I hear something, I'm involved in it. And I will continue to be like that.
And we appreciate that engagement. I think that's very important. But we also have to understand everybody is not as I guess not every you said it, not me. No, I'm just joking. But not everybody is not everybody is willing to quote unquote get off the sidelines, you know, because that's not, you know, some people are more passive, and we have to respect that. But that's good that there's those advocates that they can go to, like yourself. Allison?
I want to say thank you for giving that platform for people, first off, because a lot of people aren't willing to have that platform and use advocacy skills. And a lot of people don't have that. And I appreciate your passion, because again, that's what's going to help us get through this gap that everyone keeps talking about. And when we look at it as like a gap, I think that we're looking at it as like an empty solution, at least in some people's eyes. Instead of looking at it like, okay, the glass is half full, what else can we do to fill with it? Because I think, like, you know, a lot of people feel like there has been a lot of setbacks instead of a lot of step forward. But I feel like we can learn from those setbacks. And I know it sounds cliche, but honestly, you know, the way that police respond to something isn't always going to be the same situation. It's not going to be always the same kind of person. Because it's easier said than done. I mean, these officers train for hours, of course. I mean, months in the academy and stuff, trying to predict what's going to happen in a scene. But again, when you respond to something, you're using your own biases to respond sometimes. And sometimes it doesn't process that, like, your biases happened. And sometimes for some people, they've had trauma where police responded and they didn't respond in a great way. So until we can respect, like Andre said, each other's situations of what happens, because unfortunately there's still people out there who don't, how do you say this? Who don't believe that we're all equal. And until that happens, we're all, you know, going to keep butting heads. And I appreciate your stories and the time of you telling us everything that's going on, because that's what we want to hear. And that's what we're looking for from people. And I hope you can go back to your community in the East Bluff and tell them, hey, there's people here listening who care and want to do something about it. But again, I thank you for your time and for your stories and everything that you said. We're here to listen. And I appreciate it again. Thank you.
Let me just put this in there. It's not my committee, it's me. I don't have a committee that I pull together and say, let's do this. I do it.
Oh, I said community. Sorry
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. A community, I meant.
because again, this is about the community. That's why it's in, the title, as well as the police. Because again, I've had my bad experience with police. I've had my good experience with police. Sometimes my biases come out, sometimes they don't. It's more of, again, I have to rationalize with myself and tell myself, hey, you got to understand and respect other people as well.
Well,
Sorry
and
about
I think that, and I think our community, one thing I used to do all the time is ride-alongs with the police. I think every person in this community needs to do at least 2. So they can see how it feels to walk up to a house where there's a gun and you don't know if anybody's going to get shot. They have to see what these officers go through. And anytime I talk to anybody, I encourage them to do a police ride-along. See what's going on. My husband and I did it one night. He was in a paddy wagon, I was in a squad car. We kept meeting up at calls, but we saw what happened and how it worked. Until you do that, I don't know.
Yeah, no, you got to get that perspective. Chief Boone, I saw you got your thumbs up, sir.
Yeah, so the question for how police and community relations would look like if we were Picasso, it would be on both ends, or, the pool would be from both ends. Mr. Johnson had brought up the mall incident, and, firsthand seeing that, the Peoria police officers that responded to that call, they were nothing short of excellent in handling, and not exasperating the issue, trying to calm, everything. But in a perfect world, if the officers showed up and had to shut them all down or block them all, I would love that we would have a group of concerned citizens that officers could also have to respond to that site and be able to usher the help usher to help, calm the situation down. Also, Allison is awesome in, describing, implicit bias that officers have. We all have it. Everybody has implicit biases. But to be able on both ends to understand as an officer, I have specific biases and I may treat people a little differently, not trying to, but, there are different biases that we all have, and understanding that, yeah, I may have a crowd of people fighting at the mall or a crowd of teens fighting at the mall, but there are backstories to that. There are kids that are acting out that, father was just killed, don't have any food in the house, living in constant poverty, dealing with constant trauma. We as officers need to understand that and be able to evaluate that, just as we want the public to understand that all officers are not bad as the media, projects us to be. So with police and community relations, it's basically, trying to get that give and take and understand that both sides have some growing to do. And like Allison said, it's just breaking down our implicit biases, because just as officers have implicit bias, citizens have implicit bias. Just because I wear a blue uniform, they're going to look at me a certain way or treat me a certain way. So I think the thing that this committee should foster is to try to bring more dialogue and to try to bring the community and the officers together in a way to get those stigmas and those implicit biases out of the way.
No, nicely said, Chief Boone. I think the more that we can engage with one another, the more we'll learn from one another and realize that we all really want the same things, and that's to be safe, for us to enjoy our daily lives, enjoy the quality of life of Peoria. But until we have those engagement opportunities, then those implicit biases will always linger, and so I think that's very, very important. Ms. King, I see you have your hand up, and we are in the final minute. So we'll go Ms. King, and then if anyone else has anything, and then we'll wrap up, good people.
I'll be brief, but I just wanted to get this in, talking about a perfect world. I just want to commend the police department for a couple of things that they've done that do help bring about better relations. The number one thing is having neighborhood police officers. In a perfect world, we would all have that kind of relationship that the citizens who live in the neighborhoods where the resident officers are, because they have began to form relationships and have a rapport they feel free in confiding in them. And I know that from a particular officer. And the second thing that I want to commend the police department on is having cameras, because we know that in the last year or so, that the cameras have in some instances validated or invalidated citizens' complaints. And so that's a good thing. And so I too am a person who started out, I guess, like maybe 50 years ago when I was fresh out of high school and going to college at Bradley, where the police were your enemy. And I have evolved over the years. The police are not our enemy. We're all in this together. And the last thing I want to say is I want to commend our chairperson who has been at the forefront, because we worried about, letting people know that we existed. And I know that in the last few months or last 6 months that you've spoken out, about incidents to let people know that we do exist. I also want to commend Chief Boone for calling it out. Like, we have to take some sense of accountability and responsibility as well when certain situations arise.
Thank you, Ms. King. I appreciate that. We are now at 7:01, so we have hit our limit, but I really appreciate everyone taking time to participate in our first virtual town hall series. We will meet again next month, so please look out for the promotion of that, and you will be able to solicit the link again from Ms. Kirby. Dr. Zagardo, are you applauding, or you want to be called? Oh, you're just clapping it up. Okay. Okay, awesome. That is good. I am excited we did this. I'm excited we did this, and let me let my reactions ride real quick too, because I'm feeling good about what we did tonight, and this is just the beginning. We know that this meeting won't solve some of the disconnect that we do have here in our community, but we're going to work towards a solution. We have to continue to stay solution focused in order to really move the needle forward. I do want to acknowledge, I think he just might have logged off, but I did see, or no, he actually is on here still. City Manager Patrick Urick is on the call too. Sorry I did omit you earlier, but thank you for being here with us, sir. We really appreciate you. And shout out to everyone else, and we will see you all next month, same time, same channel. Take care.
Thank you.